Hey, what is up guys, GuitarRock here, welcome back to another Stella Sora video. So I want to talk a little bit more about the tier list, alright? This is going to be something that a lot of people are going to ask me about, so let's talk about the CBT tier list. Now first things first, I've already made the reroll guide earlier today. However, one thing that I probably missed out on is talking about the guest account, right? I didn't know that this rocket symbol right here, if you click on this, you are going to be able to make the guest account. Now I'm not sure if you are going to be able to delete your guest account, because some games you have to wait like 3 days or like 7 days before you can delete your account. Again, as of me recording this video right now, the game is not yet officially released. So everything that you hear right now is going to be based upon the CBT closed beta test version. So I want to talk a little bit more about the best characters to obtain, of course based upon the tier list that we will be having a look at upon the CBT. Now again, disclaimer, this is the CBT tier list, so take everything you see here with a grain of salt. This is not going to be finalized. There are going to be certain things that might change accordingly when the final release comes out. Now Chitose is a first character in the global Red Up banner. She is going to be very unique. However, during the CBT, not many players were able to play her. She was only available in a story, but I was able to try her out in an early access version, and so far I can vouch that she is going to be one of the strongest characters that you can obtain early on. Now, if you look at this particular tier list right here by Game Merge or Gamerge, right? So this is going to be again the CBT tier list. I will try to Google translate this so everybody can see right here. So they recommend Nanoha. Again, this is going to be pretty much consistent amongst all the other banners. Nanoha is going to be very strong. Now just because she is going to be the strongest character for the Ventus type, and I believe being a DPS character, she is going to be pretty much the strongest Ventus character for a while, right? So hopefully if you guys want to obtain her, you can pick her from the selector, or you can try to reroll her early on. Now there's also going to be a few other characters right here, being Frisha, Misty, and Chisia right here on the S tier. Now let's talk about these other three characters. Now Frisha is going to be the other S character, alright, that is going to be in the standard banner, but again she's going to basically compete with Chitose because they are both in the same element, the Aqua element. Now again, she's going to be much more versatile. You can still use her as a, versatile means you can use her as a support or as a DPS, as a main character. So she is going to have a pretty unique skill right here, alright, generates ice flowers to deal damage for her support skill, and she can also deal damage to nearby targets and enters Berserk. So that's going to be off her ultimate skill. I feel like if you already are going to try to obtain Chitose or try to pull for her, you can maybe skip Frisha and try to get the characters from the other element. Now Mystic, this one I can personally vouch for. She has a very annoying skill. Basically she can summon this small little ghost, alright, so right here, and she can apply the Umbra Mark Dark Shadow, alright, these self-exploding Lanterna Phantoms. I actually love her skills a lot. She's one of the few characters that can do summons, and very useful in that particular case, right? Now I tried to use her as a main DPS though, however her multiplier seems a little bit weak. Hopefully they're gonna improve that in the official release version. Now as for Chisia, she's probably going to be one of the better fire character that you obtain in a while in terms of the Ignis type. And as you can see, they are going to recommend you these three right here, but Nanoha is just infinitely stronger compared to the rest. Now, what about all of these other characters? For example, Minova, and then we also got Jerry and Nazuna right here. So again, I did mention this in my previous video as well. These characters, the Earth Elemental, the Terra Elemental characters, they weren't present in the CBT. So nobody knows how strong they are. So you can see right here, they are putting them as a question mark for now. There are some speculation that they perhaps could be broken, but we don't really have the knowledge for that for now. Maybe you guys have to wait at least day one to know how strong they are, right? Now what about Minova? Personally, I think she's one of the coolest character, and I'm a little bit sad that her being a light elemental character or Lux in this particular game, she seems a little bit lacking in the CBT. Now I definitely think that she is going to get buffed. Now will they buff her to the point that she's going to be as strong as Nanoha? That's going to be something that we'll have to find out, right? So that's going to be something that it's hard to say for sure, but she does feel very underwhelming for being a light character in the CBT, like I mentioned, right? She has a very cool ultimate skill though, right? So commands Ashwin clan members to attack the target. That one at least can be used occasionally, and I think that's pretty decent. Now as for the rest of the cast right here, a lot of them, a lot of 4 stars, somewhat they are going to be in the A tier range, and I think Anne is going to be quite strong. The reason, I'm not sure why they put her a little bit low right here. I think Anne, as far as I know in CBT, because the viability of Nanoha is quite high, and Nanoha is one of the strongest character in the game, you also will be getting a free Anne from the pre-registration, right? Highly recommend you guys to try to build her. She can basically boost the squad's attack. As a support, she's insanely strong. She's one of the few attack buffer in the game. Now speaking of buffers or supporters, I guess I just briefly mentioned Anne is going to be one of the more universal buffer in terms of buffing attack, and also one more is going to be Flora. Flora is going to be one more universal buffer because she is going to be able to buff right here the crit rate and crit damage. So I'm not sure if Anne and Flora will be able to fit in one team to just hyper buff one of your main DPS character. There might be some strat that we can do in that particular case, and I think these two are going to be much more versatile in terms of the viability, right? But yeah, CBT tier list, all of these are going to perhaps change a little bit, right? When the official launch comes out. Now again, they did mention Nanoha right here, very, very strong. This tree wasn't implemented in the CBT. That's going to be what it is. I guess right now nobody actually knows how strong is Chitose, but based on what I've tested, she seems to be extremely strong, right? So I feel like right now she's kind of broken in the way because she can basically move around. She's very, very mobile, and she can basically do a lot of burst damage, and you know, being the first raid up banner, I just don't see how she'll be bad. So one more thing that I also want to briefly mention to keep in mind is also some characters might perhaps unlock certain talents. So talents are going to be dupes for those of you who are not aware. So dupes in this particular game, some of them are quite useful. For example, this is going to be Chixia's talent. You can see the first one right here. Alright, increase Ignis damage dealt by 14%. So some of these are going to be quite crazy. Increase crit rate and crit damage, you know, for Chixia's ultimate. So she can also do a bunch of boosts right here. So some characters, perhaps when they obtain some of these dupes, they do unlock extra benefits or extra buffs or extra perks that might change their viability in the tier list, right? So a lot of these tier lists generally just take into account that if you have a single copy, but you know, you never know, some of these characters might basically unlock some special talent that will make them stronger than the rest. So that's going to be something that we'll have to figure out when the game comes out, because you know, game is fresh, game is new, and it's going to be an universal launch across all regions. So with that being said, that's going to be it for this particular video. Let me know what you guys think of the CBT tier list. I'll have a link to it in the description below, just to have a rough idea of who are the characters to basically try to aim for as well, right? So if you guys want to share this, you know, it'll be right there in the link. With that, I'll see you guys again later. Subscribe, give this video a like, have a nice day, goodbye.